though, when you guys got down to, I think it was 12 or 13 to bring him in?
Yeah.
No.
You can't do that. When you make a move like that, and then, the starters are on the bench, you can't go back to them. It's just not the right thing to do.
What can you say about the fight, though, that your guys' bench gave?
Loved our bench group. They came in. They forced Houston to bring their starters back in. They set a tone that we're going to need for Game 6. And I thought, even though we lost the game, I thought it was crucial that we fought the way we did in the fourth quarter.
And for someone like Moses, whose shot's been a little gone, for him to get the 25 points, get his shot going, how important is that?
Yeah, it's great. Got some rhythm. Very important for him to go out there and compete and play the way he did. There were some positives in what was otherwise obviously a decisive loss. Houston was great, and they took it to us right away. But like I said, it was an important finish.
Steve, one of the things with such an experienced team is there's a comp for almost everything, and I'm wondering if this situation reminds you at all of the Game 5 in Memphis, and which you of course missed, but similar feeling.
Yeah, similar vibe. Down 30 in the first half. I think in Memphis we might have been down 40 or 50 even. I don't remember exactly, but similar vibe. Young team, on their home floor, trying to stay alive. They came out and threw haymakers at us. They made every shot in the first quarter. So we got what we deserved.
I also, the broadcast back home, there's a lot of talk from Bob Fitzgerald that they're targeting Steph's thumb and deliberately trying to hurt him. And I'm just wondering if that's your view of things, and if you've talked to the ref about it.
Yeah. So, the rule, the NBA is once the shot has been released, you're allowed to hit the guy's arm. And so what's happened in the league this year is players always they're going to outsmart, the rules. They know what they're doing. So players all over the league are just taking shots at guys' shooting hands after release because they know it's not going to be a foul. And I'm very confident that next year the league will fix it because it's only a matter of time before somebody, breaks a thumb or breaks a hand or whatever. But these are the rules. I do believe they're allowed to call a flagrant if they want. The refs could call a flagrant if the guy winds up and takes a shot. But no, it's been happening across the league all year long. It's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, but we have to take it through the league process to get that changed, and that'll probably happen this summer, I would guess. No, I don't think it's impacting him. It's just, again, it's players are going to do whatever they're allowed to do. And so after every release, Steph's getting hit. But it's basically within the rules. So this is how the league wants it right now. And, I know we got 30 coaches who all think it's just idiotic that we allow this. So we'll have to take it through the competition committee, all that stuff this summer, and eventually we'll get it fixed. But right now, this is how the league works. Whatever the rules are, the players they're all really, really smart, and you can't blame them at all for doing whatever it takes to win the game. It's the highest level of competition on earth, and so it is what it is.
What challenges are you seeing that their zone is presenting, and what are the keys to beating an effective zone defense?
Well, I thought we were pretty good against the zone in Game 4. You can't get stagnant. You have to push the ball. You have to play with pace and movement and get to spots. And we definitely had some poor possessions against that zone tonight.
Steve, you look like I saw Jimmy and Draymond kind of talking things out. I think Steph was talking to you at some point. Because you guys have this championship experience, how fast do you know that, because you've been with these guys in these situations, that they turn the page and start looking toward the next game?
I mean, our guys have been here many times. Jimmy's been here many times. I think a couple of years ago, Jimmy was part of that Miami team that was up 3-0 against Boston, lost the next 3, and then had to win on the road in Game 7. This is what the playoffs are about. I mean, it's just incredibly competitive. Everybody who is playing now, who's still alive, has great basketball players and great coaches. And, I've said it throughout the series. Houston's a great team. Ime's a great coach, 52 wins, the 2 seed, athletic, they got all these lottery picks. So they're a hell of a team. And this is the playoffs. It's just as much a mental test, an emotional test as it is a physical test, as a skill test. It's what makes it fun. It's what makes it challenging. It's what keeps you up at night. But this is what we do, and we love it.
Steve, how would you say Jimmy Butler was moving out there? What do you think he was healthy? I know before the game.
I'm sorry, who?
Jimmy Butler.
Yeah.
Kind of what do you think of his health and how he was moving tonight?
It's tough to gauge based on, the way the game went. Game got out of hand early, and I think. It wasn't his best night, but I think he was moving fine. I'm not concerned about him for Friday.
Just to follow up on their zone defense, did they do anything differently tonight, or was it more just your execution?
No, same zone that basically they played the other night, and we were out of sorts from the beginning, especially defensively, and I think that carried over to our offense. It's hard to play offense when you're taking the ball out of the net every single play. At one point, I think at halftime, their effective field goal percentage was 95%. I've never seen that in my life. So you're not winning that game.
What was so problematic defensively? I mean, you mentioned the early fouls, but, I guess without seeing the film yet, where did you guys screw up most?
Well, honestly, the fouls set just a brutal tone for us. We can't. You can't set a tone defensively by fouling. You have to set a tone by putting pressure on the ball and being in the right spots to help and building your shell, rebounding, forcing the shots that you're willing to give up. We didn't do any of that. Thank you.
Their first game from tonight, we're going to hear now from Draymond Green at the podium.
What do you feel like went wrong defensively to start that first quarter?
I think we were really bad in transition. We get matched up. They got loose, hit some shots, and then they just had it going.
Steve mentioned at half that he kind of had a conversation with you about how much to chase it in the second half, how much not to. What was kind of your calculation there? And do you believe, I don't know how many minutes you finished that tonight, but do you believe that could maybe help a little bit going into Friday?
It is what it is. Obviously, it's not ideal to play that amount of minutes because if we're winning, play way more. But, yeah, we had a quick conversation, and he was just saying, I don't think we should chase it. I said, cool. We'll give it 5-6 minutes. We can't turn it fast and pull the plug.
Draymond, they weren't playing whoop that trick, but does this remind you at all of the Memphis Game 5 when kind of the same thing happened? And is one of the benefits of your guys having so much playoff experience that there's like a comp for almost everything? Yeah,
you kind of seeing everything. They weren't playing whoop that trick, but they may as well have been. But, at this point in our careers, we've seen it all, had all the experiences, so you got something to draw back on. But, yeah, they played a good game. But whether they win by 1 or 50, it's a playoff series. It counts as one win.
Draymond, Steve mentioned he noticed that defenders, when they're closing out, they're trying to almost hit Steph's thumb as he's shooting. Have you noticed that, or how much have you seen that, especially in these playoffs?
Yeah, I noticed it. I think it's pretty obvious, but it is what it is. Yeah.
Do you think the league should crack down on it at all?
I'm not one to come to cry to you about what the league should do. I see enough people cry about me, and I lose respect for those people when they cry about me, so I would not allow somebody to lose respect for me over that. It's all good.
What can you say about the bench's fight for you guys tonight?
That was huge. Just them coming in, playing the way they played, forced their starters to have to get back in the game. Gave us a run at it. Had it down 11 with multiple times to get it under 10. Just didn't work out, but I thought our bench did an incredible job of coming in and continuing the fight and making their presence felt in this series.
Draymond, I saw you on the sideline talking to the coaches. You and Jimmy were talking at one point. Steph's talking to Steve. How much are you guys already were trying to figure out things for, Game 6?
Yeah, we turned the page quick and just start talking about possible adjustments that we can make, things we see, stuff we can get into. But yeah, we flipped the page really fast.
You feel like those conversations were productive in terms of adjustments for the next game?
You'll tell me after next game.
What was your reaction at the end when Pat and Trace got into it with Şengün?
It's beautiful. You don't back down from anybody, and they didn't. So I like it.
And Draymond, you're a true competitor. Y'all don't back down from anything. Can you just kind of talk about the competitiveness that you've seen out of Jimmy Butler and what he's added to the roster?
Oh, man, he's changed our season. He's the reason we're here right now with a 3-2 lead, going home with an opportunity to close out. Just the toughness that he's brought, the smarts, the competitive fire, and then obviously he's just a great basketball player. So he's brought a lot to this team, and, we're going to make sure we capitalize on it. Great. Thank you. Oh, I ain't going to talk about you if you was right here.
Oh, yeah, I already know.
What do you think happened mostly defensively tonight?
It was just a slow start for us on both sides of the ball. We missed some shots, turned the ball over early, and didn't make them miss at all. That was the game for us at the beginning.
How would you describe the way the bench played in the end of the third and fourth quarter?
Yeah, inspiring. To get us back in the game, give them a chance at something special. Kudos to those guys for staying ready, for fighting, for not giving up, and always staying ready, because you never know when your number's going to be called, and it was tonight, and they played their asses off.
Jimmy, what was your level of movement tonight compared to last game?
It's getting better. It's getting there. Another day and some change of recovery and rest. But that's no excuse for how I played, how we played as a whole. Like I always say, if anybody takes that floor, you're expected to go out there and produce, and more than anything, you're expected to go out there and win.
Jimmy, this team has kind of been through a similar situation. They were down 55 in Memphis when they were up 3-1, lost, but then closed things out in Game 6 in 2022. And Steve mentioned how you had that 3-0 lead against Boston, then ended up winning in Game 7. What does it take from your experience to kind of rebound from something like this, where you don't close the team out but then can do it later?
We're fine. Our confidence isn't going to waver any. We're going to start out better. We're going to play a better overall game because we know how good of a team we are as a unit. We know how good our players are as individuals. So we just got to, as starters, we got to kick us off better, which we know that we will do. We'll be fine.
Jimmy, I want to commend you for being a true competitor. You'll show up regardless of what the score is. How would you describe yourself as a competitor on the court?
I just do whatever it takes to win. I pride myself on that. It doesn't matter how many points, how many shots, how many assists. The main goal in this game is to always win. So when you do see me out there competing, doesn't matter how we get there. We didn't get there tonight, but I always play to win.
Was there a moment in the fourth you thought you might go back in?
Yeah, of course. But I would want, the unit that was out there to close it out. They did it, for me. They worked so hard to get us back in the game, getting buckets, getting stops. It's only right that they keep going and lead us to victory. Hurt. Oh, yeah, for sure.
Welcome back to Playoff Central Live. It wasn't a night that we're used to seeing from a guy like Steph Curry and really the Warriors starting lineup. He had just those 13 points. Everybody else from those starters in single digits. They only really played about 2.5 quarters of this game. So can they respond in Game 6 on Friday? But first, let's go ahead and hear Steph Curry's thoughts.
How early? Steve seemed to think like the 3 fouls early was a bad sign about how focused you guys were defensively. How early did you know it might be this type of night?
That was a tough stretch because we started the game, I don't know if it was 8-2 or something like that. Had a couple good possessions, hit some threes. And then the game kind of halted they got in the bonus in 4.5 minutes. So, one hand, they were the aggressor. The first 3 fouls were, I guess they were fouls and it kind of set the tone. And then, they got confidence, went on a run, got the crowd into it early, and the desperate team, set the tone. So for us, we understand how to negate that going into Game 6 and come out with a better effort in that first 6 minutes and set the tone our way.
Steph, how much does this remind you of Memphis, the Game 5 in Memphis 3 years ago, and is one of the beauties of all your playoff experience that you have basically a comp for every scenario?
Yeah, there's definitely something you could look back on part of the journey, but that's all well and great to talk about. You have to go do something about it on the court. And, we talked about our group is trying to do this for the first time together. And I love that challenge because, we have an opportunity to, write our own story and how we bounce back. And we've had a pretty, resilient group over the last 2 months, and it has to show on Friday.
How cognizant are you about the way that they're closing out on your jump shot, particularly, swiping down on your thumb?
You don't think about it, and if it's a foul, they should call it. That's it. If it's a foul, they should call it.
Steph, you were talking about getting off to a good start. How much of that do you feel like is on you to do, even
on
though
what?
on you, like how much of a getting the right energy and urgency is on you, even though they're kind of, playing the kitchen sink defense against you?
Yes, it's a balance. I think we have some things that we can do going into Game 6 to get more organized and get a better rhythm offensively, whether it's me taking shots or not. But I did notice tonight was an even more concerted effort. Thompson got me twice at half court when I was trying to set up a play, worrying about, everything that was going on behind and not worrying about him. And then there were a couple possessions where you get downhill and you see a lot of white jerseys. So you just got to figure out where the driving angles are. We need to get Jimmy more involved in the half court with the right spacing around him. And then, we all got to make shots. So it is on me to balance all of that and, put some points on the board and get ourselves some rhythm early.
Steph, following up on Danny's question, Steve was asked about Brooks swiping down and basically said it's a league-wide issue. The league allows it after the shot's released, and teams everywhere do it, and the league needs to address it in the offseason. What do you think about the larger question of contact after release?
There's a pattern of when is full extension, when it what's the full point of release? Because it's hard for a ref. I get it. You're trying to look at the body, look at the release and where contact is. There's a subtle difference in how certain people do it. That when I say if it's a foul, it's a foul. But other than that, as a player, you can't worry about it too much because whether you get the call or not, if you complain or you can complain. If you dwell on it and get distracted by it, then you're not worried about making shots. I'm trying to do both, make shots, and if I get fouled, let them know I got fouled. So that's all.